Hi, and welcome to the RVCC Tutoring Center. Today we will be reviewing Chapter 3, Graphing Equations for Elementary Algebra. All of these problems can be found on page 253 in your textbook. The first exercise we're going to do is exercise 3, and it wants us to complete the table and determine the x and y intercepts. The equation they give us is y is equal to 2x minus 4, and here's the table that they give us. They give us all the x values, and we need to fill in our y's. So to figure out what our y's are, all we need to do is plug in each of our x values and solve. So for -2, we get -8 as our final answer. -1, we get -6. 0, we get -4. 1, we get -2. And 2, we get 0. So now we need to identify our x and y intercepts. For the x-intercept, we're identifying where y is equal to 0. So we get the point 2, 0. For our y-intercept, we want our x to be 0. So our point will be 0, -4. Our next problem is exercise 5, and it wants us to sketch the line. The information that we're given is that the line passes through the point 2, 1, and it has a slope of -1/2. So to start, we can graph the point that we were given, 2, 1, so we're going over 2, right? We're going 1, 2, and then we're going up 1. Now we need to figure out where our other points are going to be. So we're going to use our slope, and we're going to use our rise over run method. So we're going to go rise, which will be down 1, and then over 2. That will be our run. So we have a point here. We can also use this method to go in the opposite direction. So starting at this point, we can go, instead of going down, we're going to go up, and instead of going to the left, we're going to go to the right. So here's a point. And then we can keep going in that method. So our final graph will be this graph right here. And that's what our line will look like. Our next problem is exercise 10, and it wants us to graph the equation. The equation that we're given is 4x minus 3y is equal to 12. So for this problem, we need to figure out some points that we can use to graph the equation. The easiest are to use the x and y intercepts. So first, let's evaluate x is equal to 0. So we're going to plug in 0 for x. This gives us 4 times 0 minus 3y is equal to 12. And then we get -3y is equal to 12. Then we divide both sides by -3, and we get y is equal to -4. Now we're going to evaluate y is equal to 0. This will be our x-intercept. So we're going to plug in 0 for y, so we get 4x minus 3 times 0 is equal to 12. And then we're going to get the equation 4x is equal to 12. We divide both sides by 4, and we get x is equal to 3. So the points that we got from that are 0, -4, which is our y-intercept, and 3, 0, which is our x-intercept. We can then graph both of these points. Now we just need to connect our dots to get our final equation. Our final problem will be problem number 12, and it wants us to write the equation in slope-intercept form and give the slope and y-intercept. The equation that we're given is -4x plus 2y is equal to 1. In order to solve this equation, we're going to want to isolate y. So first we're going to add 4x to both sides, which gives us 2y is equal to 4x plus 1. And I'll get back to why we wrote it as 4x plus 1 instead of 1 plus 4x. Now we're going to want to get rid of the coefficient in front of our y by dividing both sides by 2, which gives us the final equation in slope-intercept form as y is equal to 2x plus 1/2. So the reason we wrote it as 4x plus 1 is that it'll help us determine what the slope and y-intercepts are. The general slope-intercept form for an equation of a line is given as y is equal to mx plus b. In this case, m is equal to the slope and b is equal to the y-intercept. So in this case, for our equation, m, or the slope, is equal to 2, and b, our y-intercept, is equal to 1/2. And this is the Chapter 3 review.